Welcome to or welcome back to the channel. Earlier this summer, I did a little weekend trip to Osoyoos, and I was fortunate enough to get not one, but 2 bike rides in. I wanted to try to find some gravel, and I was very pleased with what I found. By the end, I hoped I provided you with some ideas for cycling in and around Osoyoos, or simply just shared with you some scenic shots of the area. And I might throw in some historical facts so that you can at least say you learned something over the next 10 minutes or so. So, Osoyoos is in British Columbia, Canada. It's right on the US border, and it's about a 5-hour drive from Vancouver. It has a population of less than 10,000 people, so for reference, the largest cities nearby are Penticton, at about a 45-minute drive away, and Kelowna, which is about an hour and a half away. The beautiful Lake Osoyoos and the numerous vineyards make this a big tourist spot in the summer. Okay, enough boring stuff, let's talk bikes. So I brought up my gravel bike for 2 rides, the first from Osoyoos to Penticton and back, on some gravel and road, and the second up Mount Kobau to 1,873 meters, or about 6,000 feet, which was entirely on gravel. Mount Kobau was on the second day, and it was definitely more epic than the first day. Like I said already, on the first day, I did a cool out and back to Penticton with some of the route on the gravel International Hike and Bike Trail. Thankfully not the Hike a Bike Trail, and some of the route on the KVR or Kettle Valley Rail Trail. The KVR is a huge gravel rail trail that runs across half of BC, and this was just a tiny snippet, but it's still pretty cool. The route I did is about 140 kilometers long, but only has about 550 meters of elevation gain, so it's fair to call it pretty flat. You of course could pick out a smaller section of this route to make it shorter, if that's too much riding for you, or you could easily add to it as well. I have both routes linked in the description if you want to check them out in more detail. So I just bought a drone 2 days before leaving for the trip, and I only had time to activate it beforehand. So taking on this ride was my first time using it. It's a DJI Mini 4 Pro, if anyone is wondering, and I'm pretty excited about bringing it along with me on future rides. I was trying out the active track mode, which basically allows you to have the drone follow you as you move. I wasn't able to ride very fast because I had the controller in my left hand here, but I ordered a handlebar mount for the controller off Amazon for $20, so I hope to use this feature more in the future. I couldn't find any info online as to why it is called the International Hike and Bike Trail. It is 18.5 kilometers long and connects Osoyoos and Oliver, but it is not international. I was thinking that it could be a term to represent that is both for bikes and pedestrians, but that is not correct grammar, so surely that can't be the reason. This route takes you on a small section of the KVR trail. It runs along Skaha Lake here, and it is several kilometers of gravel along the lake, which is pretty fantastic. The KVR Trail is a gravel cycling route that runs from Hope, BC to Castlegar, BC, snaking through the mountains and passing by numerous small towns. I haven't cycled it yet, but it is a famous one to do here in BC, and there is a good bikepacking.com route that I have linked in the description that covers it. Some quick history is that after the original Canada Pacific Railway, or CPR, was completed in 1885, a political and economical need had grown for a railway to connect southern BC to the Fraser River, which of course runs into the Pacific Ocean. By the late 1800s, a bunch of silver was discovered in the region, and a large amount of Americans had come up north to mine it. The Canadian government needed a way to keep the industry funneling through Canada, as the American Northern Pacific Railroad was the cheaper option for Americans to use as it ran through the relatively nearby Spokane, Washington. Anyways, the Kettle Valley Railway was finished in 1915 and was fully abandoned by the 1990s. It has since been converted into a gravel trail, which is cool because much of the regions it covers would not be otherwise accessible. There's a fair amount of road on this route that I did. Probably only a third is gravel, so keep that in mind if you're not into road riding or just a gravel purist. The road shoulders were super solid the entire way, so no complaints. Okay, day 2 ride, let's get it. Mount Kobau was 1,300 meters of elevation gain from the highway and about 19 kilometers up. It was entirely gravel, so you need a gravel bike or a mountain bike for sure. The grade is about 8% the whole way, so regular cars can actually get up and down no problem too. So I opted to drive instead of ride up the highway for about 15K. But you can see right up there, that's where I'm going to ride today, on this lovely gravel. You actually pass the starting point on the same highway you would take coming into Osoyoos from Vancouver. Spotted Lake is a popular point of interest park that is right down the road. So 1K into the climb, and I just realized I forgot to put my helmet on. So I have to go back down and put it on, and then come back up. So I just wasted a good 10 minutes probably. Oh well. So you may be wondering why this gravel road is even here. Usually in BC it is for one of two reasons. Either a logging road, usually decommissioned if it's open for bikes, or a cell tower road. Well, funny enough, this one to the top of Mount Kobau is neither. There's going to be an astronomy telescope observatory thing erected on the top of the mountain in the 60s, but the project got cancelled midway. However, they had already built the road, so it's now a park open to the public. So it's basically just been gravel like this the whole way. Cows are like mooing at me. Where on earth are these cows from? Holy shit. So following the ride, I did some research into why there are cows on this mountain. Basically, this entire region is shared between the local Similkameen First Nations, several private cattle ranchers, and it has provincial park protection. So the cattle are supposed to be there. I'm allowed to be there on the road, and we're all on the traditional land of the First Nations peoples. I found a good paper published at a UBC that talks about the contested proposal for this region to become a national park instead of its current arrangement. The nationalization of the park would potentially impose new regulations, and because of the varied interests for the use of the land, the proposal has been in political limbo for 20 years. Over there we have Lake Osoyoos, which is where I started. You can actually see the little turnoff from the highway. It's very small. Maybe I'll try to maximize it when I edit this. And then over there you can see Oliver. And then there's just a bunch of farms in between. Since there are more cows that have passed coming down, here's some fun facts about cows. Cows have a 4-chambered stomach, which helps them digest all that grass. Humans only have one. Cows have almost 360-degree vision, which explains why that cow was side-eyeing me as I passed it. Cows cannot walk backwards downstairs. Can I pet that dog? Thanks for watching. Why not subscribe so you can see my future adventures? A like or comment is also cool, and until next time, I'm out.